In addition, want to thank the great folks from this wonderful food that we have here tonight. I hope everyone is enjoying their meal. If you haven't had dinner tonight, please do go and grab some food, grab some seconds. We have plenty of food for everyone. This evening is full of wind. In addition to the wind, we will be having multiple activities inside of the house and outside of the house. So we will spend about the next 5 or 10 minutes outside, and then we will go inside um, in an orderly fashion. So everyone should have a name badge. If you don't have a name badge, if you could please raise your hand, and someone from our team, okay, I see a few of you, will come to your table to give you a name badge so that you know where to go when we provide you with the instructions. So with that said, I'd like to officially hand it over to the Air District to provide some welcoming remarks, and then we'll hear from some of our community co-hosts.
Thank you, Dr. Ramos. I am going to be really brief in my opening remarks and just start by thanking, we have a lot of partners here today. You'll see at the different tables, we have the city of Stockton with us. We are talking about car replacement and Valley Can, and you'll learn a little bit more about that. And then we also, of course, have a variety of other partners and some students that are joining us from UC Berkeley, some students that are joining us from UC Davis. So lots of different folks out here. One of the folks that it maybe for some of you, it's been a while since we've seen that's joining us today from the Air District is our Air Pollution Control Officer, Samir Sheikh. So I'd like to introduce him and have him kind of kick off the meeting for us.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's great to see everybody here in person. Again, my name is Samir. I'm the Air Pollution Control Officer, and my home is really the entire San Joaquin Valley. I love seeing the familiar faces that are here today. There are a lot of faces that I actually haven't had the benefit of meeting yet, so I'm looking forward to meeting all of you. And just wanted to thank first Jeff for just hosting us here, along with the whole leadership team over here. Just a round of applause for Jeff. And just really appreciate the tour and just being very gracious. And want to also thank the entire team, who I know works really hard to set this up. But most importantly, I want to thank all of the residents and the local stakeholders that are a part of this whole community steering committee process. You take time and energy and a lot of patience and working with all of us to go through this whole process, and just really appreciate all of you from the bottom of my heart. I may not be at all the meetings. I watch them. I'm there behind the scenes. I'm talking to Jess and Ryan and the whole team every single day about how we can do a better job in serving the community and really just trying to uplift and support the efforts that are going on here. So we really appreciate just all of the work that you've been doing. It's been a lot of collaboration, some great success so far, but as we think ahead to the future, what can we really be doing here to support the effort to continue cleaning up the air, improve quality of life, and just make this a better community for all of us. So thanks to all of you, and I look forward to the meeting and learning and meeting everybody that's here today.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And now we'll have an opportunity to hear from Margot, tonight's community co-host. Hey, Margot.
Well, I'm here, but Eugene is here too, wherever he is, I don't know. But we're co-hosts, so I think this is the first time we've had two co-hosts from the community, so it was really good to get together. My name is Margot Prowse. I'm a resident here. I live right, about half a mile that way, and I was involved with this before we even received the grant. It was the year before we were successful, and Stockton, a group, it was Yoli Park and Catholic Charities. Where's Hector? I saw him somewhere. Yeah. Who contacted me and said, would you come out here? And we met at Washington School because of the seriousness of that particular site and the idling trucks. And I don't know how long ago that was. It was before COVID. Because the very next year we received the grant, and then when we started meeting in February of 2020, the very next month we were shut down. So we met once, and then it was all presumed. So it's nice to be here in person. It's really good to be here in person. People look very different in person than they do on a little screen. And so welcome everybody, and I'm glad we're all here to make a difference. Sometimes it feels like we're moving too slowly. And other times, when I mentioned, so just now when I mentioned Washington School, it reminded me of how different, where's Jeff? Jeff. So we drove by it as part of the tour, and it's not perfect, but they have changed the truck routes already, right? Since a little bits and pieces, and it's starting to make it's. They're always cognizant of it. Let me just say that there's little children there, that they need clean air, and how can we make that happen? And so things are happening, and do you want me to pass? I'm going to pass it on to Eugene. You want to stand? You want to sit?
I'm going to stand.
Okay, you stand.
Good evening, everyone. Evening. It's so nice to gather with all of you today, my friends, in partnership with a better community. That's what we're all about, is bringing betterment. They call me Dr. Eugene Farrell, and I like to say that I'm a part of the Stockton community. I'm in the 95206 zip code, and I'd like to ask you all a question. How many can name at least 3 words that begins with a B that is associated with the air? Breathe is one. Another one? What else? Blowing. All right, blowing. One more. Breeze. You just named 3 that are associated with the air. When you get a breeze, you can pick up particles. With breath, you can breathe in particles. And what was the other word? Blow. And you can blow out particles. This is what we're about, is bringing together you as community workers, scientists, professionals, as well as people of interest. And may this day, as we go further into the meeting, bring some contribution to those that are around your table. And may each of you gather something or make a contribution to us that are here. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much, and thank you everyone for being here tonight. So as promised, we are going to be moving and rotating tonight so that you all have an opportunity to sit at 3 different tables and learn about 3 different topics in great detail. So the goal for today is that you have an opportunity to interact one-on-one with folks that are experts in the room on a given topic. So the 3 topics that we're going to cover today are bike lanes, passenger vehicle repair and replace, and we're going to have a table devoted to community outreach. In addition to that, we have our air monitoring van here today so that you all can have an opportunity to go and see that and talk to folks and learn more about that. So that's the kind of going to be there the whole night, so you all can interact as you please when you feel ready to go over there. So right now I'd love for folks to look at their name badge, and if you don't have a name badge, someone from our team will be coming out to give you a name badge. On your name badge, you should have a colored dot. So I see here, Spencer has a green dot, for example. Florence is missing a dot, so we will give you a dot. Hilda, oh, yellow, I couldn't see it, thank you. Has a yellow dot. Everyone should have a dot. We're going to start with station 1. So if you have a blue dot, you're going to start at station 1, which is a bike lane table. At this bike lane table, the City of Stockton staff will be there to share their proposal map of bike lanes in Stockton. And at this table, we're asking that folks ask any questions that you have about this proposed bike lane paths. This will be an opportunity for you to talk directly to the City of Stockton and get all of your questions answered. If you are a CSC member, so you know you're a member. If you're a member, in addition to that, your badge says that you're a member. If you're a member, you can take a peek at your badge on the back side. There's some pretty cool stickers there for you. We're going to ask you to use those stickers to show your support for the conversation and the topics that you're learning. That is, if you would like the Air District to continue down this path that's being discussed and you want to learn more about it and eventually come to a vote at a future CSC meeting on this proposed pathway, then you're going to show your support by using the stickers that are provided for you in your name badge. Okay. When you walk in, so we're going to go in through the doors that are here closest to the water. You'll come in, and on your first right-hand side will be the first station 1 that is for the blue dot. All right. Those of you who have a red dot, you're going to start at the station number 2. This is the passenger vehicle repair and replace. At this station, you're going to hear directly from the Air District staff, who's going to be providing you with some context and information about the funds that are available, the amount of funds that are available, how you can utilize those funds, what are the qualifications to participate in the program, and essentially get any questions answered for you so that you can also let the Air District know whether or not you'd like to support doing more research on this SERP measure. Again, as I previously said, if you're a CSC member, you have stickers inside of your name badge so that you can show your support. And then lastly, our third table is right in front of me here, where you see the green tablecloth and you see Rocio. Maybe Rocio can wave her hand if she can hear me. Here's the team, very excited to talk to you about the outreach strategies that the Air District is currently using. The Air District would like to learn from you all. What do you think about these strategies? What is missing? What recommendations do you have? Are they using the right strategies? Do we need more people to know about these measures? What else could they do to provide the support in the community that you think is needed? So at that table, you'll have an opportunity to talk directly to the Air District and provide your recommendations. All right, those are the 3 tables. And we're going to start with the first table, which is only folks that have the blue dot. So if you have a blue dot now, I'd love for you to stand up, and Laura, you're going to follow Laura with the blue dots, and you're going to go inside. If you have a blue dot, you're going to go inside, go to the right-hand side, and start at the first station. I will let you know when you can rotate. Only folks with a blue dot and, of course, the City of Stockton can go inside to the bike lane station.
So for those of you that have these, and we'll try to work on grabbing a couple more, if you can flip, we are at table 2. So if you flip to table 2, you'll go and learn a little bit more. And so maybe I know we have some new folks in the room, so maybe this is an exciting opportunity. Raise your hand if you are on the CSC or you're an alternate member of the CSC. 1, 2, and then the COG is a partner member of the CSC. So everyone else here, it sounds like public members, academic research groups, or groups from like students. This is really exciting. So this is going to be an opportunity for you all that are not part of the CSC to really hear about what we call participatory budgeting. We're going to actually try to make some decisions today, or at least kind of ground truth some shift in funding that we want to make. And so for this couple of CSC members that I have, I just want to remind you all, if you are part of our October CSC meeting, we voted to allocate more money per new vehicle for a vehicle replacement measure. So for background, this is a measure where we scrap, and we'll get into the details of how the measure works exactly, but someone can get rid of an old vehicle and get a brand new vehicle. And in your CERP, you now have $20,000 per vehicle. And at the time, we talked a little bit about that. We didn't exactly increase the funding in the CERP for it. We just increased the amount, which overall, right, would decrease the amount that we can target if we kept the same funding amount. We're now at that opportunity. We said, hey, we come back at a future meeting. Today is that future meeting where we come back and talk about increasing the funding. And there's two reasons why we think this is really important. One is the CERP actually doesn't have very much funding in it. With the existing $800,000 that's in the funding, it's about, really for new vehicles, it's about 40 residents that can get new vehicles. We've actually already, we have a valley-wide version of this program that already has people that apply, and just in the Stockton boundary alone, we already think we could fill that like immediately, which is great, and we want these measures to move fast. But we want to make sure that more people, including those that have been involved in the CSC, can take advantage. And as you know, we have a lot of funding still to reallocate from the school filtration measure. So we're proposing to you all, and I'm speaking really directly to them at this time, is to reallocate $2 million to make sure we can get a larger group of people through this project and fund it, and that's at that $20,000 amount. So that said, before we're not making a decision right this second, what we're going to do is we're going to walk you through a reminder of how the program works, a reminder of what the outreach is, and then we have even like a little scale for here, and I'll amend this a little bit over here, is that we're asking before you leave this station and rotate to the next one that you either, and we'll amend it to make it look more like this thermometer a little bit, but you either like love it and you're ready to support it, you like it and you're okay but you still have some questions, or you definitely don't want to make the decision and you need more information. Does that make sense? All right, Hector, I saw you had a question, so is it okay if we walk them through? Perfect. All right, so I'm going to pass to my team to walk through the program. We also have Valley Can, who is the contractor who helps run the program and facilitate all of the outreach, and that's going to be the big thing, is outreach moving forward. So, thanks. I'll pass it to Kathy.
Awesome. All right, so I think I'm just going to kind of take that step back and just kind of remind everybody about the replacement program and ultimately how it would work from a Valley resident going through it. We do currently have a Valley-wide program that we are operating right now. We're accepting applications and we're offering funding for the reduced statewide incentive of up to $12,000. So what Jessica had said, you guys had ultimately voted to increase the incentive to be up to the $20,000 to replace your vehicle with a new battery electric vehicle. And it would be $18,000 for the plug-in hybrid, the new plug-in hybrid vehicle. So when we kind of look at what the qualifications would be to participate in the program, you need to have an older vehicle that would qualify. So we're talking about a 2006 or older vehicle, something that you've owned for at least 6 months, that has a 2-year usage history to it, and income criteria. So we're looking at Valley residents that meet the household income of 300% or less of the federal poverty level. And ultimately, if you kind of check all those boxes and you're interested in replacing your vehicle, this program is going to be available. We're hopefully able to start our contracting with Valley Can. We're aiming for end of April at this point to kind of get those contracts in place. So we do need to have those contracts with our partner in place before we can fully implement. But what that would look like for Valley residents is primarily, and we have Jose right here with the outreach for Valley Can. He's kind of some of the brains behind these event clinics, but most of our applicants that come through this program enter into the program through an evening clinic. You may or may not have heard about those along the way just with our Valley-wide program, but they're typically held at restaurants. Ultimately, we would have customers show up, have their documentation for applying, and have their eligibility determined, and potentially even complete an application at that point, at that restaurant by the time they leave. What this means is, and what we've seen in the program at this point, and what Jess had alluded to, is that we do already see a strong demand for this area, and the funding that's currently available in the CERP right now could be gone very quickly as soon as this basically opens. And it may get exhausted before we could really even have kind of a full-on event, and that's part of what we want to be able to do in the community is host these events. At least have one big successful event. What we think and what Valley Can has provided to us through their experience in Stockton is that we could potentially have up to 50 applications completed at one of these events, and that's just one. So ultimately what we're trying to do is just seek your input, whether or not you're comfortable looking to increase the funding for this measure. We do think that we have a healthy demand and that ultimately there will be a lot of opportunity for more residents to participate in what currently we'll be able to with this increased incentive with the funding that we're a little constrained with right now. Ultimately the transaction side, we can talk about that too. Once you've submitted an application, you would work with our partner to select a dealership. You can look at the inventory across all of our participating dealerships. You would pick that car, work through our partner, they would submit that information to us, and we would process that claim, issue that check, and then Valley Can would be in person at these transactions. You would drop your old car off and drive away with your new car, so you're never ultimately without a car, and that's kind of how the whole process would work in a nutshell for the customer coming through. So. Process-wise, did I miss anything, Akio? I've got Akio here. I'm Carrie too, by the way, with the Air District. I work on the program. I apologize, I did not introduce myself, but myself and Akio are here, and then we have some Valley Can representatives here to also help talk about the outreach side of things, the success that they've seen, what's really working, even specifically like in the Stockton area, they can speak to as well.
I'm from Stockton, so if anybody has questions about Stockton,
So I guess I'm just going to I just want to open it back up. I think there was some questions, or Hector, did you have a question kind of initially, or?
No, I'll just let anybody else who wants to speak.
Okay. Hector, I caught the name,
so I know that we've been doing with Catholic Charities a lot of EV outreach. So I know that there's definitely a need, especially when you're looking at the pricing of EV vehicles right now. It's really not affordable for the people that meet the threshold, the 300% or below, right? You're still looking at a car, some of the cars that are available that have decent mileage, EV range, battery range, not the I think some of the Volkswagens have 80 miles or 100 miles, which is really not going to do much for people who rely on this as your primary vehicle. I think a lot of it is seen that, as we're reaching out to these low-income communities, we're replacing their primary vehicle with something else that's going to be used as a primary vehicle, not as your second or third vehicle that you use to commute to work with, right? But again, going back to what I was, the point of this is that right now the price of the vehicles are pretty high still. I know eventually as we start transitioning more, the price will get lower because there's going to be more inventory. But I would be definitely on board to have more funds available for the program to get these people more, making sure they're not left behind, making sure that they have the funds, that they're able to purchase these vehicles, they're able to make the transition with the rest of California, and they're not the ones that are left behind in the process. So my vote is definitely, when we come to it, is going to be a yes on this.
I guess I had a question on, I don't know if this is going to come later, but the reallocation from the school filtration measures. Is there still measures, like, is there still money for the filtration, or how is this going to cut corners for that?
So just as a reminder, and I know not everyone's been on the CSC the whole time, there was a pretty big effort to try to get school air filtration. Stockton Unified is the only school district within the boundary that we operate with, and there were not only efforts, but also just a lot going on in Stockton Unified at the big time. They also received a lot of COVID support money to do school air filtration, and not getting into sort of the Stockton and how that went. There was a big vote by the CSC to no longer fund that measure. We never fully reallocated that funding, so it just sort of, we keep saying school air filtration, really it's just sort of like there was $2.6 million available. If you recall, we recently reallocated some of that to commercial lawn and garden, some of it to residential lawn and garden, and there's funding left, and this would be the place. We do think moving down the line, there's maybe other places the funds aren't moving, but this is the one we know we already voted not to fund, so we felt like it was a safe space to use that funding.
And just a little more background. Stockton Unified used a lot of, like you mentioned, COVID funds to purchase indoor air purifiers. So it's one of the reasons why they would want to do.
Sort of like not even, like maybe not even necessary, duplicative, and then also just a lot of other.
I have some clarifying questions. How much is 300% of the federal poverty level?
It can change every year, so it does increase. I can pull up an example. I don't have
For like a household size, for an individual, one single individual, it's about $32,000, a little bit over that. So if you meet that amount or less, then you'd be eligible if you're an individual in the household.
So it's household income?
Yeah, it is household income.
And that number will increase depending on the number in your household.
And who's earning?
Yeah.
And how many children are?
Yeah.
And what's like the average? Also, are these all new cars or are these pre-owned?
So for the highest incentive, it would be new vehicle purchases.
Okay.
You know, they would still be eligible. You guys would still be eligible for the used vehicle purchase, but it would be the reduced amount at basically that statewide, the valley-wide statewide incentive that we're currently offering right now.
Okay.
And that goes up to $12,000. But the PG&E program, the EV rebate program that they have, is intended for used plug-in hybrid electric vehicles and used battery electric vehicles. So you can apply for $4,000 on the rebate if you were to get a used plug-in hybrid or battery electric vehicle too.
Okay. So like on average, how much are people paying out of pocket?
I think right now what we're hoping to be able to see with like some of the few potentially like battery electric vehicles would be like maybe around the 40,000 price range. I think there are a couple of vehicles in that market. So I mean, ultimately, if you use that $20,000 incentive, the used vehicle rebate incentive he's talking about wouldn't apply to this particular purchase, but it could be potentially a $15,000 to $20,000.
I think we did Akio and I did a presentation in January, although it was January 3rd, 2 days after New Year, so a lot of people were like, I haven't seen you in a while, but it was an event, a Stockton CSC meeting, and at that meeting we took an inventory of a couple of new vehicles available for purchase in the Stockton area. There was a new Bolt that was available for $29,000, so about $10,000 out of pocket. There were used vehicles that if you stacked it with the PG&E rebate, it would be nothing out of pocket besides like maybe tax title license. So it was about the $12,000 plus the Ford, it was about $60,000 vehicle. So there are cases that that we've seen that are close to zero if it's used, and maybe 10 to 20 if it's new.
There's also for certain vehicles, $7,000.
That's new too, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's been available. There were some changes that were made.
I'm sorry, it's for new vehicles.
New vehicles.
For new vehicles, correct.
But there's also a low-income used vehicle tax credit that you can also use. That is also
Okay. And so I'm just kind of curious from because you've been doing this up and down the state for like a while now, right? So I was just kind of curious, like what you've seen in the communities, whether it's here or others, like what the average is, like because if folks are spending $10K, that's at best a third of their income for the year, right? Like based on like the 300% of the federal poverty level. So, like, do you have numbers on it, historical data about like how much people are paying?
I can provide a little bit of like instances if you'd like, from like the inception of the program to now. We have seen that a lot of our participants will pay out of pocket the full amount. So essentially people will look at this as free money, and we try our best to educate them that this is money that they're getting, it's an incentive, they never have to pay it back. So they really look at it as a gift. So if I'm out of pocket $5,000, $7,000, and I just received my income tax refund, I'll just pay it. So it's never been an issue. We very rarely do we hear like, oh, it's too high, I can't pay the remainder.
And then just for clarification, Lisa and I just looked at the federal, it's actually this year for the single, it looks like it's $45,000. For a household pulled of 4, so a family with 2 kids, it's $93,000. So there are, Valley Canyon and our folks can attest, there are a lot of people that qualify and take advantage of this program constantly.
Oh yeah, per week we're averaging over 100.
And valley-wide,
This is valley-wide.
And valley-wide for new vehicles, what's the incentive?
Right now for new vehicles,
It's $12,000.
For new, so even so at this 20,000, we're hoping to Hector's point that it's like that's the incremental cost to really get folks in Stockton that need it the most, like really push them into helping out.
Yes. I did have some clarification, some comment or a question to be clarified. So with the incentives, is there anything in the language, say if the dealer's going to accept the incentives, that limits their the percentage rate, the ABR that they can charge the buyer?
So currently, in order to participate in our program, we do ask a variety of things from our dealerships. We don't just, it's not just a free-for-all for any dealership. They do need to be able to uphold consumer protections that we have in place. And one of those is an interest rate cap, and that's consistent with ultimately the statewide program. And so there is that is a 15.99% cap, which is still relatively high, but ultimately, if somebody can't qualify under that, then they can't go through the transaction because we don't want them in a loan that they ultimately are not going to be able to afford.
Maybe then it sounds like, you know, hopefully folks feel comfortable however they want to vote on kind of the funding shift. I wonder if this is a good time. I know that Rocio and my team passed out, and we don't have many, so when you're done with this sheet, we ask you to put it back, just the single sheet, which is the locations that folks have helped us identify places where the team, like say and Luis and the team can go and do these outreach events. So maybe this is a time, I don't know if there's questions that you all have about, specifically about the outreach events and what they're like and what goes on. This is also the time we'd like to hear kind of outreach feedback as well.
I will note we have about 3 minutes left, so I'm not sure if you all feel comfortable with taking a quick temperature check on love it, like it, still have concerns, or if just you want to take a minute to talk through those outreach questions.
Oh, I was just going to say, I was just thinking on their way out, if I think that we only have 3 voting members in the room right now. So on your way out, if you all feel comfortable placing your, I think some of you have butterfly stickers, I'm not quite sure. So, yeah, there you go. Placing your butterfly wherever you feel she belongs. Just that way we have a little time for outreach if that works. Unless, yeah.
Number 9 is no longer, it's closed.
Oh, there we go. That would be over here. Sorry, number 9, so for those that are, yeah, down here. I mean, it could be a cool place to, like a cool rundown, closed restaurant to do that.
For the 5-year crowd.
The 5-year crowd, yeah, I feel it, Yeah.
So what's your target, like, what's your outreach like plan so far? Or what was the location of your demographic? Like,
Yeah, let's talk about outreach.
Let's talk about outreach. Yeah, so these locations are great. Let me describe how they're currently being held. Currently, we hold them at pizza parlors up in the valley here. They've been held at Mount Mike's in Western Ranch, just off of the 5. Easy access, ample parking, ample spacing inside. So some of these locations, we wonder how that setting would be because we were staffed with a scanner, copying machines, computers, everything like a full-blown operational office so that they're able to in and out these customers. So a lot of people will come in with the 6-7 pieces of required documentation and they walk out of there with their original documentation. We gather this information there and then get it back to them. So just wanted to plant that in this room to understand that we might not be able to go to like La Tapatia, who is already a struggle. Going in, that store is probably as big as this, and the parking lot is probably half size of this room. So there's going to be some of those locations that you've recommended that might not work, and we want it to work. So we'll recommend some, like Stribley Park, if you're from Stockton, we'll recommend somewhere like Stribley Park, like McKinley Park, like Van Busker Park, that have a community center. We have a relationship there. They'll open the doors for us. Big, huge office for us to operate, and people already gathered. So that's kind of how we want to support, and then of course, bring back to you anything that we have a suggestion for you, and if you approve it, we're more than happy to do it. Does that, in a nutshell, cover what we do? Questions? Open for questions.
No, I think just looking at that Eddie's Pizza overview.
Eddie's Pizza is great, and their pizza is the best pizza in town. 39 years.
I love it. I love it. Well, I do know, I think we're about a minute away from wrapping up. A couple of things is that a lot of you know we do have an outreach subcommittee meeting, and we're certainly able to bring, whether it's Valley Can or even just like our partners at the district, to come and talk more about the outreach. But even just hearing what we heard today, I think we have some good movement on pizza from what I heard, and I obviously need to come. And then, again, I think as we transition, if the CSC members can please drop their butterflies off wherever you feel fit, then we're happy to have you all move to talk about bike lanes in the city of Chapter. Awesome. Well, thank you all, and then please, if you can leave a little mapping map.
My name is Heather Hanks. I do outreach to the Valley District. Cassandra Melching is on my team. She does outreach too. Actually, Cassandra is assigned. We have a small but mighty outreach team in the district.
Small but mighty.
Small but mighty. Yes, yes, we are mighty.
So you would see wood then.
And we have folks assigned to our various AB 617 communities, just so there's some eyes in the community all the time. And that someone is Cass. And and one of the things that Cass uses in the Stockton community is fun little air pollution matching game. We brought it to show you just sort of the range of the type of conversations we have, all the way from talking to adults about trading out their cars to talking to children about sources of air pollution and just getting them to sort of even understand what it is that we're talking about. In the next couple weeks, there are... No, he ran out of names.
Oh, that's okay. A couple of
Google Translate. Okay. Right? In the next couple weeks, hopefully you guys are potentially going to be out and about and see us at a couple different places. Much of what we're often doing, talking to the public, interacting with the public, trying to engage them. On April 13th, Stockton Unified has a big event. They pulled together, 30 vendors?
Quite a few. It's a lot. There's going to be a lot of vendors out there. The whole school district will be at Edison High School for their Earth Day, and we'll be out there as well, handing out 100 air purifiers to local residents.
So if you got one already, bring your neighbor, or if you haven't got one, come out. I mean, we can get you signed up immediately. But yeah, bring someone, and they can take it on that day. That's the cool part. You go online right now and apply, you wait for it to get shipped to you, but if you go out there, you get it in person. Go ahead.
Yep, and there's free food for the first 300 people.
Who are we talking?
I don't know what food trucks are out there, but we've got food trucks. Yeah,
okay.
That are going to be there.
Where is this at? This is at Edison High School, Saturday, April 13th.
Yep, starting at 12. Yep, 12 p.m. 12 to 5.
Yeah, and our crew will be there with 100 purifiers and giving them out until they're gone. And then actually after they're gone, we can still sign folks up on the portal. But to answer a question that was asked last group, we definitely have the means to help people that don't have technological access or understanding. We definitely provide materials in English and Spanish. And we certainly have the phone number that, I think Dr. Farrell or somebody mentioned, if we just had like a little puppet for your phone or some kind of stick-em that you could put at various places, like in Home Depot when people are standing in front of fireplaces, that has our grants number that says there's money to be had, be clean, call this number. Just trying to connect the communities out there to the resources without overwhelming them, making them feel like this is a government process, just trying to be sort of approachable. That's literally our goal whenever we're out in public. And for the outreach team of the district, it fills our cup to talk to the public. So you can imagine we're making friends. And it's led to some really incredible partnerships. In fact, we got to the turkey event, I think, through discussions about housing and
Conway.
Yeah. Yep. Conway Homes. Yep. Yeah. Were you at that? We saw you that day. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. In fact, wait, where's your picture book? Somewhere we have a printed picture book. But anyway, I was telling the last set of folks, a lot of the work we do in AB 617 specifically is a little more challenging because we don't generally rely on mainstream advertising because it hits such a broad cross-section of people. Depending on what happens in the measure discussion, I think did you guys come from the passenger vehicle?
Right.
Okay, so you haven't got there yet. So your next group, they're going to talk to you about the fact that there is so much interest in your area for the replace program that we already have enough applicants in the queue to exhaust the funding you've committed, or to replace the vehicles. Now, those people have been applying over time, and that they're all ready to still do it and haven't already traded their car in or done something. It remains to be seen, but there is definitely enough applicants and interest in the Stockton area to exhaust all of the money you have put in the measure. It is wonderful. So hopefully, maybe the measure gets more funding. I think that's what they're talking about. Yeah, I think that's what they're presenting in the other room. And so, depending on what you all decide, assuming we had more funds and needed to do outreach for that, yes, ma'am.
Was that mostly through like word of mouth? Like how was that the replacement?
Through our awesome partners at Valley Can. So as you know, we're out doing the repair events all year long for probably the last 10 years. In the last 3 years, we piloted the replace side of it. And before it was even sort of broadly public, we were going, oh my gosh, this car doesn't need to be repaired. This car needs to be eliminated. And so we got early funding and we piloted it and we started just grabbing the gross polluters out of that process and replacing them. And then we reported back, and then they refunded, and so here we are now with the ability to give up to $20,000 if the folks choose an electric vehicle and turn in an older model, which is insane. Yes, ma'am.
So sorry, could you repeat just the question just to make sure that I got that?
Oh, I wanted to know what was the outreach method that they used.
Yeah, and to get even the people you had now, because to your point, we weren't talking about it. We didn't have the measure identified. We didn't have a program plan in place. We haven't been telling people that there's 20 grand to be had because it wasn't decided. We just said, hey, there's a measure. There's interest in this. If you have the ability to wait, maybe you should. There's a committee. Go to the meetings. We try to connect people to the dots. There were people that definitely said, no, I'm in a dire situation. I need to continue through the process now. So we had some of those too.
Does this include hybrid as well as?
The 20 grand, I think, is only electric. The hybrid is 18, 12, 16. I'm going to say 16. I'm not 100% certain, but they'll go with you in there. At your next outreach, or in your next breakout room, they'll chat with you about that. Still a pretty hefty number for hybrid, but the biggest amount is full electric.
So Heather, one of the things I think is just, the air filtration is massively important. And you say you're actually handing out the air filtration without cost. I think that's just a wonderful program. Even a connection with the pulmonologist so that they know that their patients can get air filtration.
Yes,
quality
good
air
call.
filtration.
Ooh.
So it's I think I mentioned this before, but I'd check with the pulmonologist and say, look, any of your patients that it's not only you folks, but the air district itself.
Yeah.
I mean, not just AB 617, but my gosh, that is one of the best uses of money, I think, is that air filtration.
It's very rewarding as a team to be able to see, the relief.
Oh, it's...
A parent walks through the line. They were in line for turkeys at the Conway Homes event. She was describing the child that has asthma, came for the turkey, got an air purifier, almost moved to tears because of it.
It's really maybe
yes.
one of the best things.
Okay, I'm sorry, but we have a concern. Actually, we had some of the people, the older people that aren't mobile, that couldn't get to the air filters.
Gotcha.
Is there a way? Do we?
So we handed out. We left a lot of flyers with Pandora.
Oh, really?
And told Pandora, give these to people that you know that maybe weren't here, because I know she was also anticipating certain people.
Right, and then the next thing is that with the older residents is that we have the technology barrier.
Right. So we want them to call.
And they can call. Yep,
Okay.
they can call,
Okay.
and they can, and we'd be more than happy to connect and get you flyers as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to work with Pandora.
That was specifically with this air filtration process?
Yes, the air filtration, because they were in Conway for the turkey event. And there was a lot of people who showed up at the event. But I know a lot of residents, because I work with partnership with one of the other organizations there. And we have a lot of residents that are just homebound, that they can't move because of mobility issues. And I know of some of them have asthma.
Yeah.
So they couldn't come out to the event to pick one up, or they couldn't send someone to pick it up for them. So I was just concerned that they're going to be missed out.
Yep, they can either go to the website or they can give us a call, and we'll be more than happy to connect you with some flyers.
So the funding that y'all committed to air purifiers was about 5,000 units. we're in the 1,400 mark. I've lost track. So all that to be said, there's a lot left to still give out. We have floated a lot of ideas like, hey, we get to the Drive Clean launch, and maybe if we check that query for that person, they haven't got an air purifier, we just go ahead and give them one when they get their car, right? And just get that into their home. But ultimately, as Cass said, we still have more work to do.
I have one more question.
Yes, of course.
Okay, so I remember when I first got my air purifier, like way back. I got mine in the mail.
Okay.
But when someone calls in, how long does it take for them to get it?
So it kind of ebbs and flows, I've learned, depending on the other volume of grants we're processing in our grants team, but generally about 4 weeks.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, about a month.
Okay.
So, hoping folks kind of jump on it now, ahead of quote-unquote, I need some wood to knock on wildfire season that we've done so well.
I'd be willing to go pick them up and deliver them in one of the electric cars. I really
yeah, got it. Yeah.
Okay, so send me out.
So that's cool. The cool thing is, April 13th, you can actually, if you want that sort of warm fuzzy that we get, you can come hang out with us at our booth as we sign folks up on the 13th. The 21st, well, it's you again, huh? No. We'll
Earth Day.
Yeah, Earth Day event. Yes, we'll be there too.
Victory Park, right?
Victory Park.
Right.
Yeah, around summertime, a lot of churches
Yes, you got one?
outside of Stockton have festivals and such.
Okay.
That could be opportunity.
I love it.
For us to
Is
get out
there,
with the families
by
out there.
chance, a newsletter or a, how there's like a conglomeration of all the things, or there a conglomeration of churches?
Probably see some kind of maybe Catholic Charities will provide some
Yes.
churches that
Good
are
call.
in the area.
Yes.
And then see when they're
You check
Yes.
community centers too.
Huh?
The city community centers, like the bus churches.
Flyer,
Yeah.
show up.
Yeah.
Yes. Please.
all the community and other
Yeah,
church,
I was going to say, and all those.
all church organizations that are
So, sort of plug into the Stockton church scene and try and connect all those folks. Yeah, and right inside the house. The only thing that to note, and we try and educate folks as we do it. The way we do it currently, you get the unit and a replacement filter. Roughly one filter should last you 6 months. If we have a horrible wildfire season, then all bets are off. But we give an extra filter in the box with it. So hopefully you've got a year's worth currently. But we recognize that maybe a year from now we should be in the business of checking in with our folks and maybe getting replacement filters. Like there's just this whole sort of element. It only works if it's working correctly. You had a question? No. It's gone. Just kidding.
Remind me.
Actually, I was just going to ask, since I'm on the spot now, what kind of partnerships do you guys have with the city of Stockton? Are they elected officials? I've seen Councilmember Wormsley at these things. Like, do any of these folks have periodical office hours where people go to? They can send out
kind of
to their list and bring people in,
yes,
or
we
like
definitely included Wormsley.
Yeah.
I say it wrong.
Yeah.
Wormsley, she's on our list as far as when we distribute information. But yeah, we do.
But I mean, so her job as our elected official is she has access to all these people's information. She theoretically could send them all an invitation to an event to come get these things. And she represents this area that we're in now.
Got it.
And
Yes.
she has
I think the last meeting.
or
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Didn't she move?
either one.
Right.
I mean,
the point is the same.
Regardless, their overlap, or
Yeah.
again,
Yeah.
it might be
Okay.
however. But I remember I've seen her in the past, so maybe
Yes.
she really
I
did
imagine if
push it up.
to lean on that, we're still aiming, right, to the measure for your community is to get a repair event in your community, dedicated to your community. So I'd like to see that event sort of take shape and have mowers, air purifiers, the display of the change out options like we had at that little restaurant, but and hopefully maybe a few vendors. And then do just that. Call our folks over there and have blast it to everyone.
And I do have a little same sort of derivative of that same idea is like Mayor Lincoln, like he represents the whole city of Stockton. I mean, these people drive turnout. People listen to their elected officials somewhat, right? And so, like, why can't they be the catalyst to bring a little bit more attention?
They should. Yeah, they should. I like it.
So, like, again, these people have access to my phone number, my email. Like, it's public information. They can send me anything they want, whenever they want. Sure, you can go through 3,000 of those.
Oh yeah. Okay, very good. Yeah, I like it. So back to the next launch, if you will. Depending on the decisions we make, if we do have a flyer, and I do need to spread the word, I absolutely will implore some of that outreach to our elected officials. We had, I can't remember his name. Y'all remember the gentleman we had on the CSC? From the city of Stockton.
It's Fugazi, isn't it?
No.
Well,
where did he
not
go?
on the CAC, but you had on...
CSC, no, this group.
Oh, on this group, okay.
What was his name? I didn't see him. Grant was the grant writer. Oh my gosh.
Elected politician.
It was out of the mayor's office. Anyway, so we used to have someone that came to the meetings, but not any longer. Yeah, he was at, huh?
Mr. Black?
No, no.
Not Harry Black.
He was at the very first meeting we had at the COG back in the day. Anyway, I'll look that up. I can see his face, but obviously, as you all know, the city changes leadership, frequently, and so do the vested parties that join our effort. But that doesn't stop us from calling the next person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
4 years.
You know, Heather, again, I would still say, I mean, you do want these community events, but, reaching the docs, the nurses, primary care physicians, pulmonologists, I mean, if you want the most good for the least amount, those are people who would know about folks who have asthma, the pediatricians, the kids, in an area.
Yeah.
It seems like public health, used to have public health school centered, and that's not so much true anymore.
You're right.
But, if you talk about the most benefit for that air filtration is to those people who really have, a significant palpable diagnostic problem. So it's something to think about.
You can't just go door to door and ask people.
Door to door.
It's a small area.
It's a lot of work. And there's a lot of dogs.
On a weekend. You know our neighborhood. Hey, you want to run?
To be fair,
do I want to run?
did go door to door by Washington Elementary, and I had to be careful with some of the dogs.
We're at the dog.
Hey, we're talking about putting bike lanes in these areas. Like, come on.
Exactly.
I mean, like if you, I think I'll look in on a
Midnight
get some
air
volunteers. Go
filters, that's what's gonna happen.
ride a bike.
To that point,
You can't even get to the
I
front
want
door.
that, but we don't have the manpower to do that. We would like to lean on, and we have done it in several communities. I'm trying to get SB to turn in her grant request.
Where is SB?
She's sick. She's sick. She had no voice and was very ill, trying to communicate to us that she couldn't be here tonight.
Sorry, that's...
I know, I feel bad.
I was going to say too, the door-to-door thing though, in all honesty, so I was recently in January at the Stand Farmers Market, and we came to do air purifiers, and I realized there was a neighborhood because it kind of was dying out at the market, so I took a little wagon and was like, I'm just going to see if I can engage anybody. They didn't want to talk to me.
South Stockton, they don't want to talk to you
Yes,
because
they did not want to talk. And then because our program, I had an iPad, and I tried to introduce myself right away to not freak them out. But we asked for an ID, and they were just like, "I'm not interested." And I was like, "But it's free."
Oh, that's part of the deal. You
Yes.
have
You have to show proof
Scrap
of
that.
address.
But you're at their door. Sorry,
Yeah,
I'll start
no,
over.
for sure. And that's what I told them. I was like, you
and they
live here,
stare at
right?
you.
You live here, and
No.
they didn't want to talk to me,
Okay.
and so I was just like, "It's free!" Like,
I believe that part. There's an idea involved on.
yeah, so I was just like, okay, I tried it out of like, I don't know, out of the handful, I had one individual that was like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll go ahead and do that. And I was like, thank you. And I'm like, let people look. Like,
And then you left.
Yeah. So it's, I mean, it's.
Did you have a question?
Yeah, is there a partnership with community medical centers or?
Needs to be, clearly, as we've discussed with all the, we used to do some, like, back when I started in the district, a medical office rotation of, yes, and it's the fact that we have air purifiers and can truly, other than used to be just pushing information on where to get air quality and protect yourself. Now I can hand you a free item to help improve your quality of life. Yeah, I think that will open the door for us.
There's also the St. Mary's Dining Hall that has volunteer doctors and dentists too. That can I go there?
St. Mary's Dining Hall? Where is that?
Or is it dining room now? I think.
I'll go link
They
it.
have changed their name.
They got chiropractors, they got all different kinds of doctors and dentists.
So some members of the private community that don't have access to
Come in
go
for
in
services.
there.
Yes.
Yes.
Got it.
And sometimes they're referred by organizations to go there.
The good news for sort of our outreach, or the way we're doing this effort, we got a little bit of EPA funding, a little bit of additional funding for purifiers, and so this summer, when we do go to those places, when we do get the out of area folks, we will be able to serve them, assuming they're still in the valley, because the program is going to get broadened again. We've got some more resources, so I'm very excited about that, because we get a little nervous when we get into areas that are either on the border of the boundary or even outside of it. And it happened in Fresno too over the winter, and
you're trying to dress differently.
Yeah. Okay.
So Heather, I got to ask you about my trees. Where are the trees on your board there? Where's our urban greening and trees?
It's dust storm. I see one
No,
there.
these are sources of air pollution.
No solutions. You don't have like on the backside. We can give you air filtration.
This is unpacking for little kids how pollution works in their world.
Just to engage conversation.
Good job, Ned.
It's a downer if you just have those.
Oh, I got it. It's good. I like it. Yes, ma'am.
Will this session be at Edison on 13th?
Yes.
Okay, because Berkeley is making like a booth where like students can go like learn about air pollution.
Hey! Woo! And then send them over to our booth and they can win the game.
Yeah, so like the thing was we wanted like on the bottom like to say like if you were from this school, like it makes sense that you probably live in the boundary.
Oh.
So then like we can go to your booth.
Yes.
So like do you want us to send the kids there?
Sure. Hopefully they go there anyway, right?
Yeah.
Is it a rotation?
I would imagine. It's a huge
that would be
event.
awesome.
Flow for it. Like what was your
Just to start a conversation, this is for elementary, like young kids. So what we do is we take these and
you gotta match the icon. Okay.
And depending on how many kids I have, normally I'll just have them pick 3. And then I ask them, can you tell me what's on here and where do you think that goes? And so then when they put it there, so like, construction, when they stick it there, I was like, did you ever consider that construction is a source of pollution? Why do you think that's the case? And then they stop and they're like, because of the trucks and the dust? And I'm like, yes, absolutely. So it's just to get them talking about these particular things. One of the things they get surprised about, and then I always feel bad because the moms are like staring at me, are the cleaning products, household cleaning products. Really? And I was like, but I'm sure when mom cleans, like she puts the fan on and she opens the windows because you don't want to be breathing that in. And they're like, Mom! We're like, I'm sorry. But it's just, to get their little minds thinking about sources of pollution.
Those farm animals.
Did we tell this group about the box yet?
No. So one of the great, I'll do this spot too after I lose him. One of the great things that has come out of working with Stockton Unified School District is we're going to do this event on the 13th, but it has also allowed us to commit to attending each and every school site that is within the AB 617 boundary, and we have created an activity box. I was hoping it would show up at the district before this meeting so we could show you firsthand what it looks like, but it's coming on the 16th. So I'm a little sad about that. But essentially what it is it's a box that we're going to give to elementary teachers, and it's a little mini science experiment where they have like multiple paper plates in there and they're going to put like Vaseline on it, and the instructions tell them put 4 of these plates outside the school, somewhere on the playground, in the hall, and one of them stays in the classroom, and they have to leave it up for 5 days. And what the whole intent is particulates will stick to that plate. So then they'll pull down those plates. We're issuing out magnifying glasses, and as a whole class, they have a discussion about what they see and why. Because obviously, paper plates that you put up, out by the playground where there's dirt are going to have more particulates than the one in the classroom, maybe. And so we've also given a list of questions just to foster engagement and dialogue around what they're seeing. So I'm super excited because now we will be in the schools. It's kind of a pilot program for us, and we're getting to utilize Stockton to see how well this works. And if teachers like it and we get good feedback, then we would like to then fund these boxes and open it up for all of the Central Valley and us to be able to give these out to the schools.
So we're piloting them and stuff.
Yeah, super excited. So thank you.
Can I talk about some of the action
Yes,
items
please,
and
of course.
things that I heard in this conversation? Hi, I'm Michaela, by the way. So I've been taking some notes of this awesome conversation and just wanted to say, so heard questions around will we have more funds, how did the outreach process take place, just talking about this really great program, checking with pulmonology, medical staff nurses, and hearing some recommendations around connecting with churches on the south side of Stockton, checking in with Catholic charities, checking in with city community centers, and with just these organizations and spaces for continual outreach in addition to nonprofits, community medical centers, PACE, St. Mary's Dining Room and Hall, etc. Also had a note around door-to-door outreach, which may have like mixed experience.
I want to double down on that one. Back to the door-to-door. Not necessarily door or something like that. If you have the nonprofit that Debbie mentioned, or like SB's group, somebody's group that is a nonprofit, we could give a mini grant to, and you could do outreach on the ground for us. So that's an option. Yes. So if you have access to a nonprofit and the bodies to do it and a plan, you can't just say, here's money and go do what you want. We work out a plan of where you're going to hit in about 15 hours of work in the community to connect information to the public. And we hand out mini grants for that. So talk to us. We would love to process those and empower our nonprofit partners in the community.
Okay. Yes. Oh, and the city officials.
Oh, it's cool. Yes.
Talk to Taylor about that. Taylor knows all.
So now you guys are going to rotate and move on to the inside to the left. Right. So, as a reminder, in your group we have 500,000 We're really excited because we have been working with the city of Stockton to kind of bring a focus to all of the that kind of benefits not just our 6 months, including our 6 months of period, the grant of Stockton area as well. So we're excited to know this project. So I'll leave it right for now. Talk a little bit about this project, and then I'll kind of come back and talk about the opportunities again.
Hi guys, Ethan Marcelo. Last time I checked, I'm an engineer at the City of Stockton Public Works. I'm also a bike advocate. I'm a cyclist. I've been cycling for over 10 years now, and with that 10 years, I also have many accidents. With me is Sulema. So what we have here is Stockton Safe Routes to School safety and connectivity improvements. That means we install improvements on intersections, sidewalks, we install high visibility crosswalk next to the school, and the major component of this is bike lanes installation. You raise your hands. Who's here a cyclist? Yes. Amen. All right. Cool. That's exciting. So I guess, are you guys familiar with the bike
I only know there was one. Just a bike lane. Bike lane was bike lane.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. So there, I wish I had put this a larger image as an exhibit, but really we have 4 classifications of bike lanes. Class 1 being totally separated from urban Calaveras bike path that is on a levee, right? And there's more cars there that's separated. And then there's class 2 bike lanes where it's striped, sometimes it's colored green, but you are next to the vehicle. So the bike lanes is next to the road. And then there is class 3, where there's really no striping or single sign, but there is a chevron with a guy on a bike legend painted on the roadway, meaning the cyclist is sharing the roadway with the vehicle. Because vehicle code in California seems like as another mode as a vehicle. And then there is class 4, which requires a larger space, specific only for bikes. and it's painted green, and then there is a buffer, and the actual buffer has the barrier, physical barrier. Sometimes it's those cloud delineators or tabbies that really, again, as I said, separate the vehicle from the bike on the cyclist. So what we have here is installation of type 2, type 4, class 2, class 4 bikes on 7th Street, Alvarado, and Turnpike, and also and also on the installation on the intersection here, there's a signal and also installing bike detection. Right now, if you guys are not familiar, you could come up to an intersection and get the red light, and then later on you get the green light. It's not magic, there's a computer behind that whole thing. But there is actually a loop embedded in the pavement that sends the vehicle, and sends a signal in the traffic box, and then allows you to have a green. And then once you're done, it allows the other intersect side of the road to turn green. The improvements that comes with this bike lane is a bike lane detection. It's actually a camera that identifies your cyclists rather than relying on the loop embedded in the pavement, which sometimes doesn't work because the bike has that much the bike camera detects the actual cyclist and assign time where that cyclist can cross the intersection. That's another aspect of this bike. Is there any questions so far?
So are you talking about Center and Alvarado when you're talking about Center?
Yes.
So aren't they already kind of synchronized?
They are. So the intersections that will be getting highway protection will be Hardaway, MLK, and then to go to Hazleton will be Airport, Wilson, and I believe French Park. So it's not the entire corridor, but select ones that do fall outside of that synchronization.
Well, I guess my question is, why does it need to detect the bike if it's already synchronized kind of time?
The synchronization is really designed for efficiency, not necessarily for efficiency. And with the new detection, bike detection that we installed, also not only the vehicles also
I think we mentioned, like, I think I bring Zilma and Doug will talk about the lot, just kind of just use that for not prioritizing vehicle, as long as there's one ways that the city is looking to prioritize the cyclists, is also having to like change before the cyclists, and not having them need to wait for a vehicle to then pass.
But you don't wait in those streets.
I'm sorry?
You don't wait on those streets. I mean, I will let you go on. It doesn't make sense to me.
The bike is supposed to act as another vehicle. So it follows.
But I didn't think even automobiles triggered the lights along those streets. I think it was autos triggered.
So the grand plan for the city of Stockton, which is implemented in our master bike master plan, is really shifting from cultural car sector, moving away from that perspective, including other modes of transportation. Back there when we designed, yes.
I just have to say this because I've been watching the project, the bid project on the new city of Stockton, in their new city hall, in their parking lot, and it was 3 iterations before finally they put in some bike parking. And I don't even know if they have put in yet charging for that parking lot. So when you're talking about the city of Stockton trying to change their focus, you know, it needs to go a little bit more than just a few people standing out there trying to get some money from AB 617.
Yes, I don't know specific on that particular project.
Please look it up.
I believe there is parking.
Now there is, after the third iteration, right? But when it went out to bid the first time, there was nothing there.
We'll look into that. But going back to the vision that I kind of shared with you is the moving away from our sector to a more almost travel roadway. Back then, when we designed roadway, we designed it 4 lanes, 8 lanes, just really wide, right? And the wider the intersection really is really hard to publish.
I think the faster vehicle travels and makes it less safe for pedestrians and to bicyclists if they do try to get on the road.
Those, you said there were videos where they pick up the bicycle, the lane. Would those videos go to the same place? So you know what parkers
Yes. Yeah, it goes to the same box, regular box, and the computer behind it basically coordinate the synchronization or who's going to be installed, which leg of the intersection. Yes.
Our team feels kind of high level talk about especially I think I'm sure that City of Stockton and also our grant safety speak a lot more to this, but 500K really isn't that much to kick off its own project. It really kind of the goal of this is to find and leverage opportunities that are happening with partnering agencies. And so what opportunity that we have before us is kind of an opportunity to again leverage these funds with 617 to kind of support the overall project that doesn't just have benefits for, it includes benefits for 617, but also to kind of the outside Stockton and Stockton as well. Overall, some of the other things to highlight, and in addition to the bike lanes that we're looking to achieve through this project is also kind of we have repairing the sidewalks, curb ramps, also the safety features that we talked about as well. Really with the goal of not just kind of reducing those vehicle miles traveled, kind of increasing options for active transportation, but also just kind of increasing the safety that's and as you can see, really one of those areas in this project really going to be a lot of schools that are in our system.
Yeah, we were very early.
Birthday and year in elementary school and here the second time. So we have an opportunity right to 6% to kind of leverage a bigger project that fits into like the vision that city has for just like greater walkability and bikeability and overall Stockton. So maybe I'll just like run over there, but I'm happy to continue.
Just one question. So this is this having to deal with the electric bikes too, or we're talking about electric bikes too, or putting in electric bikes too, or this is separately?
Separate, yeah, the bike lane, kind of an infrastructure to allow for electric bikes to happen.
My question is this, we did have bikes, like local miles, or areas that the
yeah, so it's not ours at all. It's JCOG and the third party. It's the e-bike charging station. They still exist. They are retooling their business strategy. Like what you said, it's being done in-house. And the same thing if you're in downtown Stockton, you know, across the theater, there's also bike racks there, e-bikes are no longer there for now. But my understanding is they're coming back because they're trying to improve their study. Yes, ma'am.
So, you said this is for leveraging. So, how much is this project? So, I see here we've got bike lanes, bike intersections, and you've also got sidewalks, curb ramps, safety features. So, are we going to see a complete project description, including total cost, and where our $500,000 comes in? and where that money was already going to go, because I recall some of these schools may already have a safety project that went through city council a few weeks ago.
We can talk about the number of the.
Okay, so the total project cost is $7.6 million. That includes environmental phase, design, construction, and staff costs obviously to run this project. Currently, we're looking at $900,000 or so. So this work is completed by make sure that we can send that to the
And so the actual, like the couple of the things on here, like sidewalk programs, like things like safety features, and there's like a couple of, for anything that's outside of the boundary, really this funding would go towards this area as the what's in the boundary. And so we can come back to the, as we kind of what the specific practical things are. But again, this is kind of a greater project that the city of Stockton is looking to kind of push over the future and be able to implement. That's a kind of a bigger outside, even outside. So that's why the project kind of areas that are beneficial are outside. So I'm very familiar with that bicycle master plan, and there was supposed to have done a few years ago now a infrastructure assessment, and we don't have any place to park or bike safely. And so I have spoken to this regarding that $500,000 on every single occasion that has come up. You know, there's no organized requirement for everybody to have a place to park their bike safely. So I park my bike in areas, you know, where I probably shouldn't, because there's no other place to park my bike. So it's great to be able to safely be on the road, but if you don't have a place to park your bike at your destination, then you really can't fulfill your trip requirements.
That's correct, yes, and we're looking into that, and a lot of the bike cabinets, those they'll really develop agreements when they come in to start let's say they build fulfillment center. With that, they're just wanting to install bike facilities and bike racks so they can.
Talking about warehouse?
Warehouse, just an example, right? Include also the scope too. I'm not. You brought up the new city hall. My understanding is there's bike racks there, and it was the first time I heard that there's no bike racks.
Well, there is now, but if you look back on the plans when they first went out to bid, there were no bike racks.
But I do understand what you're saying, because I myself, every Friday, I have my bike to work. I live in Morada, Stockton area there, one year to downtown Stockton. And I go right now, and I take my bike and put it inside my office. I don't park it outside. I don't want to expose it to but yeah, it's noted. I will make a note of that. You remember basically
So the 500,000, that's going to be spent within the boundary.
Specific to bike lanes.
But there's kind of like what we're talking about, like additional notes that the city is talking. They kind of are continuing to seek funds, but have funds trying for kind of other additional things, not just like curbs and sidewalks,
flashing signals, crossings, are these what they're called.
You're saying the city of Stockton is going to do those things?
Yes.
Outside of the our 500?
Yes.
And I really, it was such a great conversation, and they're all being committed. It's just, I'm so passionate about this project, and so this would be the only time I'm talking about it. But we did want to be kind of similar to how we did the passenger vehicle replace, just get a kind of a temperature check of how they're feeling about the project. That way we know how we kind of bring it back to the next season. So for CSC members, you should have one or two last stickers in your boarding tag. They'll be that same kind of similar, like, do you love this project?
You might have questions but want to move forward, like it, or do you still have kind of concerns and need time to kind of ponder? And that'll really help us kind of understand where we're dealing with it. That way we can know again how to bring it back. But thank you all. This will complete kind of our wrap up our theory table. Thank you all for participating in the exercise. And Amy, are we headed back outside of our table?
Conversations that were had at each of the tables. If you do have, it is windy outside, so thank you for coming in. If you have not had a chance to look at the air monitoring van, please do so before you leave this evening. We are about to wrap up tonight's meeting. Before we conclude, we have a few things to just share with you. We'd like to start by giving you just a very high-level theme of the discussions that were had at each of the roundtable discussions. We know that everyone, at least the CSC members, had a chance to rotate to each of the tables. But it's important for you all to hear what the general theme was. So I'm going to pass it to my colleagues to just give us a real quick 1-minute theme of the conversation and then let us know what the support was. So I can start with passenger vehicle replace.
Yeah, hi everyone. Thank you for visiting the passenger vehicle repair and replace group. So overall, it looks like there's general consensus on either loving it or liking it. And there were more general questions about all the logistics in the passenger vehicle air replacement and the allocation of funds, which I believe we're going to revisit in the following months just to get you all the details that need to be provided for that. But overall, it was informational, and I will pass it to Jess just in case you want to add any context.
Yeah, I'll just let folks know just by way of next steps. I think a lot of folks are really eager. This is one of the top measures that we're eager to move forward. Because we have pretty general consensus, we'll make a really quick, we'd like to kind of formalize that at our next meeting and move forward in reallocating, just to remind everyone, $2 million into this project to make sure we can target as many residents as possible. So I just really am grateful for all of you and the continued support we get even as I speak. So with that, I think I'll thank you for Laura for helping us and for Valley Can for being here and helping answer all the great questions. And I'll pass it to Stephanie to talk about bike lanes.
Hello, thanks everyone, and I just wanted to echo the thanks and for everyone participating in the exercises that we had today. We got so much great feedback and engagement. For the bike lanes, we are working with the City of Stockton to bring a proposed project in, so we did review that in our group. Maybe kind of along the lines of just the next steps. This was the first time that we saw this project, and so we appreciate the feedback because that helps let us know about how we can help bring this in a future meeting with the City of Stockton. So we'll plan to continue discussing this project, but overall appreciative of the feedback that we got and kind of that general interest and support in making Stockton a more bikeable place. Hi everyone, my name is Vanessa and I facilitated the bike lane station. Thanks so much for your participation. For the most part, folks loved it or liked it. There were 3 folks that still have concerns and some follow-up questions which we can definitely address at a later meeting, and I've also written questions down in my notes which I clearly went overboard on. But I will share one theme which is that stood out, which is that culture and infrastructure go hand in hand, and considering the success, the accessibility of bike lanes. Specifically, folks advocated for more outreach events related to bike culture to make sure that the lanes are actually being used in Stockton, and infrastructure, so making sure that money is used for those safety features. Thank you.
And big shout out to the outreach team that was outside the entire night. Maybe she's wrapped up in a blanket somewhere. So I'm going to pass it to Michaela to provide us just a general theme of the conversation that was had outside.
Awesome, thanks everyone. Well, yeah, so we were, brave in the cold and during that experience. But yeah, we had a lot of great feedback, so thank you, each of you, so much for just taking the time and to share your questions and to share really great suggestions about ways to continue to engage in connecting folks. So I think general themes that we heard from our conversations overall was that this is a great program. We want more folks to know about it, and so we had a number of different ways and recommendations that we heard from you all in addition to questions. So kind of main pieces being connecting more with different entities and spaces around the Stockton area. And so that included, for example, churches on the south side of Stockton, Catholic Charities, the City Community Center, connecting with city officials who have access to those spaces, continuing to connect with nonprofits, nonprofits such as St. Mary's Dining Room or Hall, the Community Medical Centers, PACE. So really continuing to dig into and connect with community organizations and entities who are already doing work and who are connected to community members in different ways and partnering. There was a recommendation in this last group about a local radio station. Local radio station, Catholic radio on Fridays, and so just continuing to enter into those inroads into the community. In addition to that, we had some questions that kind of arose throughout conversations, just questions around what is the outreach process? Have you considered door-to-door? And just these other questions as well, which I know our AD staff are really great to answer. So that's kind of the biggest pieces I heard.
Thank you, Michaela.
Hi, so just wanted to say thank you guys to each and every one of you for braving the cold and windy weather out there with us. We greatly, greatly appreciate it. And all the wonderful feedback that you guys provided. She just went over everything. We were super excited to dig a little deeper and get that ball rolling. So thank you so much.
Right, hang tight, we're almost done, I promise. We have the pleasure tonight to have our colleagues from UC Davis here today, and they have a general announcement to make. So I'm going to pass the mic to Peter, Dr. Ledwin.
Hi, thanks everybody. Really great to be able to see the amazing work that you all are doing. And just super briefly, first for those in the CSC's members, many of you filled out our survey. We really appreciate you doing that. Just want to give you a special appreciation. We have been doing interviews. We talked with a number of you here already today. If there are people who are interested in speaking with us for anonymous interview, just to kind of hear your different perspectives, and we really want to get a wide variety of perspectives to help our research make sure it's really reflective of everyone's perspectives and really be useful for you. That's the whole purpose of our research, to give you useful knowledge to be able to continue to improve the work that you're doing. So you could see myself or Peter, and I know the Air District also has our contact info. So thanks so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. And at this time, I'm going to pass it to Jeff to provide us some closing remarks.
Thank you, Jeff. I just want to say thank you to everybody for coming out. It was going to be perfect, and I got a little colder, but we appreciate having you guys come out. We do have little swag bags for you guys, and in them is one of these little finger puppets, which is a barn owl, and they're kind of become our mascot because we have barn owl boxes set up throughout the port, and then we put them on our website as well. So right now they're nesting and getting ready to fledge. And so, oh yeah, we're watching it live. They're actually, one of the boxes is right outside the patio right here, and that's the one we're watching live. He's having dinner right now. There's two young in there that are getting ready to fledge. So if you want to go watch them on our website, they'll only be in there for a couple weeks. There's a couple other boxes that are on there that you'll see them a little bit longer, but just make sure to grab a bag, and we thank you all for coming so much.
And this evening we have two raffles. We are raffling $25 for Safeway, and our lucky draws that Stephanie was able to draw for us is Dr. Eugene Farrell. And Everett Lynn Johnson. Where are you? And I'm not seeing Margot for closing remarks. Where'd Margot go on me?
She's there.
Margot! She's getting interviewed. Okay, so I'm going to pass it to Dr. Eugene to give us some closing remarks and wrap up our meeting.
Thank you so kindly. I want to ask this brief question. What is missing? I'm going to name 3 filters. A oil filter, a carbon filter, and a generating filter. What is missing? A what? Air filter. Air filter. Because we are part of the air. Air filter. Thank you.
one of your fellow CSC members?
I may have bumped into my car.
Okay, are you sure? Okay.
All right. Well, any other public comments? Anyone? Going once, going twice?
I'd like to know if Jeff would have us back on a sunny day.
Jeff, once you control the weather, let us know and we'll be back here. Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to pass it to Jess to wrap up the meeting. Anybody else?
Good meeting, good meeting.
All I want to say is I'll take the opportunity to thank Stephanie Ng, who put together most of this meeting. On my team, big shout out to them. They did an incredible job. Thanks to Jeff, thanks to everyone here. Thanks to Samir Sheikh for coming and participating. And for all of you, so many new faces, so many faces I've seen for 5+ years now. Thank you all so much and have a great night.